Few words in the world of wine have meaning such as Rothschild. You know, whether it's Lafite or Mouton, the name Rothschild is pretty much means the best, the number one, the first growth, you name it. I mean, this is what the name implies. And one of those Rothschilds, Mouton Rothschilds, has been on a tear. And ever since they brought in, back in 2005, Philippe Darlin for their winemaking guru, the property has never looked back. I remember back in 2005 talking with Hervé Vallon, who was the general manager of Mouton at the time, and you know, Mouton was kind of making good wines, but they were never like at the top of their game when it came to tasting all the first growths. I remember during non-premier, you know, after doing the first growth tour, we'd always rank like what was our favorite, second, third, fourth, fifth, you know, down the line, because we basically tasted them all during non-premier in those days and now as well. And it's funny, Mouton early on was never ranked very high, but as time went on, Mouton actually took that high ranking. And when you go back to like vintages like 2016, where it got like 6 100-point scores, it was pretty much the wine of the planet. Things really started to happen at the chateau, and for good reason, because they have great terroir. Now today, we're talking about Le Petit Mouton. And we did the 2019 probably about 6 months ago, and that wine was phenomenal. Now here's the deal. When Philippe Darlin kind of took over in 2005, actually his first full vintage was 2006, and if any of you remember, the 2006 was actually better than the 2005, and 2005 was a better vintage, but Mouton made a better wine in 2006. They did a replanting, and a lot of that replanting went into this wine, Le Petit Mouton. Now, I kind of wonder why they named it Le Petit Mouton, because it's not a little wine, it's a Mouton, you know? And then I kind of looked into it and did a little research, but Petite in France doesn't necessarily mean petite. Does that make sense? It's like a petite haute couture, means it's small but with great attention to detail. And so that's what is going on with this wine, because when they did the replanting, they knew the proper clones. They knew the exposition of the way they wanted to plant the vineyard. They knew all these things. I mean, this was like a fresh start with a new guy, and basically they had to go through the years to let these vines grow. And now the fact is, these wines are now 20 and 30 years old. Anyways, as such, you are now getting basically the same attention to detail in this wine as you are in the Grand Vin. And we're seeing it in the scores. We're seeing it when we taste the wine. And I remember tasting Petit Mouton, you know, 15, 20 years ago. Good wine, not like it is today. I mean, most second wines are kind of an afterthought, you know. Well, these are young vines, and these are not our best vines, and these should probably go into a second wine. Not here, not now. This has a dedicated plot in Mouton's vineyard. Again, like I said before, 20 and 30-year-old vines. And what they do best is Cabernet. Because Mouton, you know, obviously sheep, but it's probably the highest area in that area, if I could say that, of Pauillac. And there's a specific profile when you taste Mouton. The blend here is, again, it's 70% Cabernet Sauvignon, 20% Merlot, 10% Cabernet Franc. 50% new French oak. Oh, I get to taste this. Actually, a customer bought this 2 days ago, and here in our wine bar. And usually in the afternoon, a lot of times people come in and buy bottles and share and all that kind of stuff. And he bought a bottle of this, and so I was really excited to taste it because I really haven't tasted it since it's been in barrel or out of barrel. Well, it wasn't barrel, and it was awesome. And because we do these videos, I get to open another bottle and taste it again. And it was killer. Now, if you remember, and it wasn't that long ago, but 2022 was a very warm vintage. And so the thing is that it was shocking because I remember when Kyle and I went for en premiere, we were expecting to taste big fruit, but not a lot of freshness. And that was not the case. These wines were lifted, had energy, and I'm really excited to taste this wine again. Because, again, it may say Petite, but it ain't Petite. Good morning. Goes well with coffee. I mean, it's almost 10 o'clock in the morning. But it's 5 o'clock somewhere in Bordeaux. Actually, I think it's 7 o'clock in Bordeaux. So they're having their aperitif right now. Wow, what a wine. Very Mouton. You got that Asian spicing going on. And you have, big dark fruit, currants, tobacco, cedar. Ooh, man, that's good. I mean, this wine you can drink now. Put it in a decanter. Have it for dinner. It's a special wine. And it's quite amazing, when you're now looking at some of these second wines, whether it be for the Latour, Pavillon Rouge, from the first groves, Carrois de Lafite. I mean, they are putting so much attention to detail in these wines. I mean, before, 30 years ago, these were, $40, $50 wines. Now they're $200 wines. But when you compare them to other $200 wines, whether it be from, Bordeaux or, Napa Valley, this is right there with them. And I like the complexity in the nose. And it's, we're hearing the word freshness a lot during the campaign. And it was really shocking because they were fresh, considering how hot and dry it was in 22. I love the wines. I love the wines from this vintage. I really love this wine. And we have it. Usually it sells out on futures, but we have it now. So trust me on this one. This wine will not disappoint. It is absolutely phenomenal. It is everything you want in a Pauillac and everything you want in a Mouton. And in fact, this wine probably supersedes a lot of the Moutons, going back before 2005. I mean, there's a little rough patch there, but it's still Mouton. And this is Mouton, and very Mouton. So you know what to do.